Now we start the session between the hours 5:30 and it will last till 7 p.m. And our presentation will be done by Fερεσίδη Καλλιόπη on teachers' Phronesis in educational program evaluation. Yes, please.
Έχουμε μία αλλαγή, γιατί τις κυρίες λοιπόν, ευχαριστούμε. Θα καλωσορίσουμε λοιπόν στο βήμα την κυρία Φερεσίδη Καλλιόπη. Παρακαλώ, κυρία Φερεσίδη, έχετε το λόγο.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ, να είστε καλά. Ναι, ναι. Λοιπόν, give me a second, please.
Can we give 7 minutes more to Mr. Kalliopi? You can sit that.
No.
You can sit here.
So, good evening. Dear Chair, dear colleagues, thank you for the opportunity of sharing with you my research on teachers' Phronesis in educational program evaluation. Excuse me. All right. So, there is a plethora of educational programs being implemented throughout each academic year in all levels of education: primary and secondary, tertiary, vocational training, teachers' education, etc. The majority of educational programs are undeniably fruitful and therefore need to improve with each successful iteration. Being planned interventions that seek to achieve some particular outcomes, programs require evaluation to determine which solutions to pursue and which programs and policies are working and which are not. For this reason, educational programs rely on program evaluation and its effective feedback. More specifically, evaluation is judging the worth or merit of something in relation to specific criteria in order to receive the appropriate feedback and to improve. Of course, this presupposes using appropriate valuation methods in order to judge, to attribute, to compare, to analyze, to conclude, to improve through evaluation. Thus, when evaluating educational programs, teachers need to exercise on their evaluation capacity, their discretion and knowledge, namely features that build up teachers' Phronesis. So, it is necessary to emphasize the teacher's skill in making wise decisions during program evaluating, for which the ancient Greek thought has catered for, as shown in the teacher education literature. In recent years, we have been discussing about the Aristotelian Phronesis, the intellectual virtue, with which we choose what must be performed. This term emphasizes the judgment and ability of the teacher as a professional to make practical decisions within the complex and constantly changing educational context of the classroom. So, is the concept of Phronesis related to the professional development of teachers? To be able to answer affirmatively with certainty, we need to have studied the concept in depth and its correlation with professional development. Such a conceptual mapping of Phronesis documents why we need Phronesis while talking about professional development. Therefore, I have tried to map the concept of Phronesis through the primary sources, approaching it holistically and via not only Aristotelian, but also Socratic texts. The dialogue between the Socratic and Aristotelian texts highlights many points of convergence, most notably the weighty importance that must be attributed to Phronesis as the purpose of education. We can also deduce a definition of Phronesis. Phronesis is a good of the soul, acquired through the experience and diligence of the individual himself and those who will teach him, based on the phronimou logic, namely the logic of the man who has already acquired phronesis, how to foresee time, circumstances, and events in order to proceed to a corresponding decision at a time and execute an action accordingly. I therefore introduce a tabulation and analysis of the request of teachers' phronesis as a new but of classic value paradigm and its implications in the field of professional development. This table has 3 columns. The first column includes basic qualities of phronesis. The second, specific characteristics that make up each of its qualities. The third column includes equivalents for the teacher professional development. So phronesis as an intellectual virtue includes equivalents such as teacher's initial education and training, cognition and metacognition, professional expertise, assessment of learning for learning and as learning, teaching observation and evaluation, decision-making, which needs professional discernment, action research and problem solving, differentiation of teaching, innovation and creativity, teachers' qualities of perception and intuitiveness, evaluation and transformative learning. Furthermore, there is, Furthermore, teachers' phronesis as an hexis, that is one's characteristic built up by habit, equals to teachers' professional identity. Their belief in lifelong learning, knowledge constructing, lifelong professional learning itself, exercise, teaching practice, etc. When teachers act with phronesis as professionals, they seek for self-renewal, self-improvement, self-assessment, and self-education, but also peer assessment, inter-assessment, and they engage in professional learning communities with the guidance of their professional educators. So finally, phronesis guides teachers to use discourse and educational theory appropriately, performing as reflective practitioners, researchers, and developers. Critical to teachers' completion and effective professional development is the role of the phronimos, who has already acquired phronesis and can be the teacher's expert colleague, expert educator, critical friend, mentor, and coach. So the primary purpose of evaluation is to judge the merit of worth of an object, but also to improve the quality of decisions made by policymakers and many others, to improve a program or organization, to provide both decision-making and program improvement. Thus, it is not only about knowledge, for example, on forms and functions of educational evaluation. It is mostly about decision-making. Even concerning which evaluation model or approach one should choose to apply, we should consider evaluation not only as an art and a practice. It is about professional discernment and one's ability to make choices that fit best in each single context. So when evaluating an educational program with phronesis, one should be able to effectively deal with critical issues and to responsibly make decisions on key features of program evaluation. Critical issues are about defining in a practical way the evaluation definition, forms and roles, the importance of evaluation, and mainly one's decisions on planning and designing the evaluation procedure and use of outcomes. Finally, when evaluating an educational program with phronesis, one should be able to make decisions on key features of program evaluation, answering vital questions such as, when is the proposed evaluation procedure going to take place in our school? For how long? What evaluation tools are proposed and why? Who is going to be the evaluator or evaluators? How will the stakeholders be involved? Which evaluation approach is proposed? What biases, difficulties, and limitations could arise, and how could they be dealt with? How the evaluation data will be collected and utilized? When, how, and by whom will the evaluation report be written? How will we use it? How will we evaluate if our evaluation worked? All about meta-evaluation, etc. That is why we need the paradigm of teachers' phronesis in educational program evaluation. Thank you. That was by me. Thank you. Thank you so much.